You're listening to SIBN Radio on the Select USA TV iBroadcasting Network. You're listening to SIBN Radio. You're listening to the sound of the Coach's Corner.
Ready, set, go.
That's right, DCC. Are you ready for the hardcore motivation, daily inspiration, and sure up your spiritual foundation on DCC? If you want more on the go and you need to know, www.415-96radio.com. Join us there as we cheer you on to the finish line of life. This is not your mama's show. This show is for the new generation of those young men and women who know and realize that I've done enough foolish things, I've made enough mistakes, and now it is my time to accept the philosophy of DCC. And that is I am the common denominator to every situation. Join me at www.415-96radio.com. That's www.415-96radio.com. And follow me on Twitter. You're listening to the sound of the Coach's Corner. I's got my eyes on you, and I see you done sat down on the future. I need you to get up, stop looking back, and move forward.
What you need, 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 what you need,
is in the house.
Stop looking back and forward.
You're listening to the sound of the Coach's Corner. You're listening to the sounds of your lifestyle improvement station.
Hi, my name is Sonia Claiborne from East St. Louis, Illinois, by way of Carruthersville, Missouri. You're listening to the Lifestyle Improvement Station, SIBN Radio. Turn it up.
You're listening. What's going on, everybody? This is the Coach's Corner. My name is Marcus Sillett, a.k.a. The Coach. And as we approach the microphone today, we admit that we have issues, both personally and professionally, but we bring to the mic the wisdoms of the matter. Somehow our theme music was deleted from one of the hard drives, so we'll work on that. But today we want to talk about solid black male leadership. What does it mean in relationships, in the family, in the home, in the community, in the nation? You're listening to the sounds of the Coach's Corner. DCC is in the house. So what does it mean, solid black male leadership, in a world where so much of our statistics point to fatherless homes, single parent homes, and the like? The likelihood of a child being entrenched in poverty is higher because of the lack of parental support that is available to him or her. And we also have the crime statistics and the at-risk statistics for those youth that are developing between the time of 3 and 6 o'clock every day. Youth are at risk because mama is not home. Mama's not home because she's busy going to school and going to work, or one of the other, and that male child or a female child is left to a guardian or to themselves to raise themselves. And we have a plethora of other problems: sexual identity, trying to find their way sensually, sexually, and beyond, drugs, alcohol abuse, experimentation with this or that. And so when we find black male leadership, what do we do with it? Too often, more than not, many black male leaders are treated as monsters. And the reason why I think one of the central reasons why we're treated as monsters is because if you've grown up with monsters, if you're used to monsters, if you've heard of monsters, if you've seen monsters, if your mama told you about the monster she was dating or whatever the case may be, then that is your only experience. And finally, when you meet someone who provides solid black male leadership, there's a plateau. You can only go but so far before you have no reference point for how to engage that black male leadership. Well, what is black male leadership in the home? Black male leadership, first of all, is consistency and protection and provision. And mind you that many people, many young black males, have seen a decline in their income mobility regarding their careers and their finances, and there seems to be an increase in African American or black women's salaries. Not to say that black women's salaries is equal to that of their female counterparts, but at the same time, we see a rise in the African American community of black women who are achieving in the workplace, and a decline of black males achieving in the workplace. And so we equate, black women tend to equate their income compatibility with power and respect and so forth and so on, whereas black African American men tend to equate their lack of increased mobility and income with a sense of not measuring up, low confidence at times. And so there's an unequal balance of power in relating. And so I want to talk about, this is a special DCC edition here on SI Being Ready. I wanted to talk about this black male leadership. Black male leadership brings to the table the first thing, consistency of provision and protection. Now, your man may only be earning $2 an hour because he's a waiter or something at the Waffle House, or because he's earning minimum wage at McDonald's. But does that make him less of a man because he earns less than the African American woman? Personally, myself, I think that the corporate structure has placed the woman against the black African American woman against the African American man. The corporate has placed her against him as the breadwinner, and thereby shifting the roles in the home, shifting the roles in the community. And black men do not feel affirmed. They do not feel like they can ever do enough to win the respect and the honor, even though they have good manners, even though they have great ethics, even though they have good moral values, even though they have spiritual foundation, even though they have a great reference point, such as a father or a grandfather or uncle, someone that mentored them along the way, whether mistakes were made or not. It just doesn't seem to be enough for good black male leadership in this day and time to measure up. Now, a sidebar being, if you're a thug, a player, and a pimp, you get all the respect in the world. If you bounce around your words, you bounce people off the walls with your words, and you act like a tough guy, like you're from the mafia or something, then you can get that respect, because that is what our culture now embraces. And we say we want good, solid black male leadership. I feel for the single people who are always saying, I'm looking for a good man, because I want to pre-warn them and give them a qualifier that if your search for a good man is not matched with experiences with good men, you will not be able to soar beyond the skies in relating to a solid African American male in the home. We are sitting on a time bomb. When you look at the statistics, we are sitting on a time bomb. 72% homes are single parent homes, and about 64% or so are ran by women. If you look at our school structure, about 48 to 59% of our schools are ran by women. We have a lack of male teachers even. So your child may go to school and never interact with a African-American black male teacher. And if he or she is interacting with an African-American male teacher, it is almost like 5 to 1. One male teacher for every 5 female teachers. What are we saying in our society? And not to mention the disparities in sentencing laws, where African-American men particularly, it doesn't necessarily mean exclude African-American women because they're facing it as well, but African-American men are locked up disproportionately to whites for crimes that may be along the same lines, but the punishments are harsher. And not to mention that when you enter into the penal system, there's a chance for a greater sense of recidivism in that particular community for wherever those pockets of African-American men are entangled with the law and with the penal system. Not to mention that the resources become somewhat depleted as an offender, as a ex-con. So if that person is to be released, they have double the trouble to try to get back to some sense of normalcy because of the disparity in sentencing laws and recidivism that may or may not occur due to the exposure of the penal system being a system all of its own, a family of systems all of its own, outside of the regular normal system as a free citizen. And so we have a problem engaging black male leadership. And this is not, I know this subject has been taboo in the church, but it also extends to the church, because the only time that we see black male heroism is when we see a pastor. And it's kind of like getting on my nerves. I don't know if it's getting on your nerves, but it's getting on my nerves. Why? Because black male leadership is more than just spiritual. Black male leadership, the well-rounded black male leadership, is all around. We can discuss finances. We can discuss how to make our relationships grow, how to make our families solid. We can discuss the kids' college plans. We can discuss investments. We can discuss how to fix things. We can, you know what I'm saying? So we're limited with what we see in front of us, even to the extent that we now see, of course, more African-American males rising perhaps in sports. So between sports and church, we're absent. Other than sports and church, we're absent, it seems, statistically speaking. So the question then becomes, then how do we engage black male leadership on an everyday basis? How do we create a reference point to celebrate solid black male leadership beyond the egotistical or sensual cultural messages that we get on a daily basis? How do we move beyond seeing that solid black male leadership as an abuser because we've only dealt with abusers? How do we see solid black male leadership as motivators and encouragers? How do we create a reference point so that when we meet a good, solid black male who leads and doesn't follow and is not a wimp, how do we stop the intimidation and stop the manipulation and stop the domination? Because as you already know, for every woman to a man, there's 2,500 words to a woman, and there's 25,000 words to a woman and 2,500 words to a man. So he's outgunned with words. He's no match for her with words. If you look at the statistics, if you look at the psychosocial development of men and women in general, you understand and you know that men will never win an argument with women because they are outnumbered by words. And so what is typically to happen? A man is to shut down. And when he shuts down, then he's accused then of not loving her, not supporting her, not encouraging her. But when he was trying to lead her, she took her 25,000 words and cut into him and dishonored him and disrespected him and left him on the side. I know a lot of folks are like saying, well, I don't think that that's true. Look at the statistics. They bear these things out. Take a small break. We'll be right back.
We interrupt this program to simply say thank you for your listenership here on SIBN Radio. We do not take what you're giving to us for granted. By all means, we invite you to be a part of our family in a deeper way. You can visit our websites, www.sibntelevision.com. You'll see a community page at the top there, and you can join free of charge with your email and share your thoughts, pictures, and so much more right there on the site. And for those of you that would like to listen more regularly to our block programming, you can visit www.sibnradio-by-selectusatv.com. We're now looking for interns for the SIBN networks, and there is no shortage of work that needs to be done. Simply email us your bio or resume to globalcoverage@selectusatv.info. New programming is always a consideration here at the networks, and we invite you to share your ideas, concepts, or vision. As we move forward with a global multimedia platform, we expect great things. We now want to return you to your regularly scheduled program. And again, from our hearts to yours, thank you.
It's not enough to have material wealth. The measure of a man or woman is from the inside out and not from the outside in. Don't trick yourself. You will wreck yourself trying to impress others and trying to keep up with the Smiths and the Joneses. It's about time that you start looking at the finish line. And at DCC, we offer the hardest core motivation, daily inspiration for your spiritual foundation that you can find. Why? Because our philosophy is simple. We are the common denominator in every situation.
Well, thank you for joining us right here on a special edition of the Coach's Corner, Black Male Leadership. Good black male leadership. How do we take good black male leadership? We need it. We need it desperately in our homes. We need it in our communities. And when we have it, we don't know how to engage it. Let's just call it what it is. We do not know how to engage black male leadership, good black male leadership, because we're not used to it. We're not used to it because we don't have enough media on it. We don't have enough a good data on it. We don't have a lot of personal experiences with good black African American male leadership. And so when we come into contact with it, we're okay until we have to go through layers of growth. We're okay until we have to go through multiple seasons of conflict. And then we reach a stalemate. We reach stagnation. We reach a place where we say, he's doing this to me. When you turn solid black African American male leadership into an abuser or victim situation, you're calling good bad. And what's a black African American male to do with that? Well, what is he to do with a woman who does not see that the love that has been consistent also brings correction. It has been my experiences, and my ear has been led to lean to the stories of statements like, "Why are you doing this to me? What else do you expect from me?" And I mean literally, good African American male leaders in their homes, in their communities, are being treated like crap. Literally. Journal entries are being written talking about how he is abusing her. A hand hasn't been laid on her. She hasn't been cussed out. She hasn't been dogged out. The man is simply trying to gather himself together to see how he should respond to a manipulating situation, a dominating situation. If he doesn't say anything, he's damned. If he says anything, she says there's nothing to it. I mean, it's absolutely the epitome of relating. And I feel for so many people who say, you know, what I really want to do is I really want to find me a good man. I'm telling you, if you don't have a good reference point for good men, particularly African American men, you might as well quit saying that. You want a good man as opposed to what you've had. But the question is, can you keep a good man in opposed to what you've had? The real question is, can you appreciate? You know, I get so sick of people walking up to me and saying, you know what, man, you don't even know, man. You know, a lot of brothers are looking for a girl like your girl. A lot of brothers would love to have what you have. Let me tell you something. They don't know what I have to deal with, just like they don't know what she has to deal with. Why envy another person? Do your own work. Get your own shovel. Plant your own garden. Why are you looking on the outside of somebody else's relationship? And why are you saying to yourself, you know what, man, that's what I want? Because on the outer, you are seeing the fruits of years of work. But you also could be witnessing a crucifixion of a good African American male who refuses to act out of character, who refuses to get into a he say, she say, or tit for tat, who refuses to go out and drink with the boys to drown his problems, who refuses to go out a whoring around to get his needs met. I need some help. All these single women running around talking about, well, I can't find me a good black man. Some of them say, well, I got to get me a good white man or a good Asian man, you know. And some others say, man, you know, they're far and few and in between. And maybe that is somewhat true. But the problem that I have is that when you find it, do you know what to do with it? If he's making less money than you, if he's making more, what if the tables are turned? If he's making more money than you? If your experience has been dog men from your past, I'm talking about from childhood on up. If your experience has been dog, if you've seen no solid, good black male leadership in the home, in the community, you do not have a reference point for how to engage in beyond the norm. In other words, you know, beyond the 3-year stretch, the 7-year stretch, the 12-year stretch. And you know what really aggravates the situation? When a good black male or good black African American male is taken for granted. You pin him down in the corner. What do you expect him to do? You don't want him to do nothing. And then when he doesn't talk, you accuse him of not loving you. And then when he does talk, you accuse him of abusing you. But when you were in that other relationship and got knocked upside your head, that was abuse. When you was in that other relationship and the brother didn't come home with the money, that was abuse. When you was in that other relationship, when that husband and that father did not correct that child and spend time with the child, that was abuse. But yet you step into a good relationship and you want to make the good African American male leader feel like he is abusing you. This is an atrocity. This is an atrocity. And I promise you that this is one of the reasons why black males run away. This is one of the reasons why they run away. This is one of the reasons why they shut down. Everybody didn't have a fatherless environment. Every man has not run the freaking streets pimping and a whoring around. Every man, every African-American man is not a player and a pimp. Every African-American man is not an abuser. And do not, when I come back from this here break, I'm going to tell you something. When I come back from this here break, I'm going to say a few things that's going to rub a few people wrong, but it's all good. But let me tell you this. African-American males are few in number, but when you find one, it's the jewel of a lifetime. And I don't want no African-American brother stepping to me telling me I don't know what I got. Or I don't want to step to another African-American brother and say, man, you know, when I come back from the break, I want to tell you some things. And I'm going to be as discreet as possible, but I'm going to tell you something. If you find a good even if you find a good African-American male that is solid, what do I mean by solid? Before I go to this break, let me make sure I make myself clear. Solid means he's not crossing the boundaries, and if he does, when he's caught crossing the boundaries, he admits it. Because a good, solid African-American male leadership is admitting when you're wrong. And we got a lot of women out here that say they want a good man, but they will never admit when they're wrong. For whatever reason. For whatever reason. They will never admit when they're caught in the lie, or when they're caught in the thicket, or when they're crossing the boundaries, but they hold you to the same standard, but never themselves admit, you know what, baby, I was wrong. Well, baby, if you felt that, when I come back from the break, I'm going to break a couple of things down. Let me get out of here and go to a small break. We'll be right back. This is the coach.
SCGPW. That's right. The Select USA TV Collabo Media Groups and Partners Worldwide for a limited time has opened up its membership to the general public. Now you can collaborate worldwide with media conglomerate SIBN Television and Radio. If you want to join free of charge for this limited time offer, then visit www.WeSupportSelectUSATV.com. That's right, we have programs, benefits, service, and so much more to offer to our members exclusively at SCGPW. That's right, visit www.WeSupportSelectUSATV.com. That's www.WeSupportSaletTVUSATV.com.
Responsible. Accountable. Who taught you that? My daddy taught me that. That's right, the new book, all the way from Asheville, North Carolina, representing the legacy of Benny Lake, is Keenan Lake, the author of My Daddy Taught Me That, the book and the program for young men in Asheville, North Carolina, and throughout the region. Tune in to the program, the project, and the book at MyDaddyTaughtMeThat.com. For more information, email lake@MyDaddyTaughtMeThat.com or call 828-582-2261. That's 828-582-2261. MyDaddyTaughtMeThat.com. You're listening to the sounds of your lifestyle improvement station.
Hi, Jamaica Chapel, College Park, Georgia, in the house. You're listening to SIBN Radio.
Hi, this is Ted Boss calling from Richmond, Virginia, and you're listening to the Lifestyle Improvement Station, SIBN Radio. Y'all turn it up now.
Hi, this is VJ Washington calling from Atlanta, Georgia. You're listening to the Lifestyle Improvement Station, SIBN Radio. So turn it up.
Hi, my name is Sonia Claiborne from East St. Louis, Illinois, by way of Columbusville, Missouri. You're listening to the Lifestyle Improvement Station, SIBN Radio. Turn it up.
What's good? It's your boy Joe coming from Snellville, Georgia. You're listening to the Lifestyle Improvement Station, SIBN Radio. Y'all turn it up.
You're listening to the sounds of your lifestyle improvement station, changing the way we live. SIBN FM, powered by Summit USA TV.
Yeah, we're back here, man. DCC is in the house. Thank you for joining us. Special edition of the Coach's Corner. Good black male leadership in the home, in the community, in the nation. How do we treat them? There's an epidemic among good black men. They're finishing last. Plain and simple. They're finishing last. Frankly, I have my own personal opinion that sometimes just being good just doesn't win in this culture. That's just my opinion. You know, I know y'all gonna throw scriptures and all that at me, but it's cool. You know what I'm saying? I can deal with it. But let's talk about taking nothing and making something. First of all, good African American male leadership does not use excuses. They do not use excuses. My father was raising me. He didn't accept excuses. He didn't accept I can't. He didn't accept I won't. A lot of these young boys running around now, a lot of these young men running around, you can't even get them to cooperate in a relationship, take out the trash, or you can't get them to cooperate and do the things that they're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why they can't cooperate, because when they grew up without a father, they had no reference point for having to make themselves do things that they wouldn't want to do, that don't like doing. So if they don't like doing it, they won't do it. And this is the nature of the new relationships that are coming up in the next 10, 20 years, is that a lot of men that did not have father's input in their lives, if they walk like the women walk, they walk by their feelings. They walk by their feelings. They walk by their senses. And good African American male leadership does not walk by feelings. Good African male leadership walks by principle. But you can't do that now. You can't do that. Principles are not favored in this culture. Principles is not favored in this culture, and it's discouraging. It's very, very discouraging. It's very discouraging. And for you to sit there, women, for y'all to sit there and say you want a good black male in your home, in your community, is saying, I want a principle-centered man. I want a man that leads when the chips are down. I want a man that leads when it's not favorable. I want a man that leads when everybody doesn't like him. I want a man that will lead even though he feels that everybody doesn't like what he's leading. I remember starting this network, and a lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people didn't understand it. But I started it because I knew it was what I was supposed to be doing. And so here, let's talk about the fact that African American males who have depleted resources, or resources that are on restriction because we don't share with one another, resources on restriction because we don't share. Let's talk about having to take nothing and make something. Let's talk about the brothers who were in jail. Let's talk about the brothers who had run-ins with the law. Let's talk about brothers who did catch a case. But yet they found it hard after making mistakes in their past to get a job, or hard to finish school, or whatever the case may be. But they took nothing and made something out of it. They took nothing. I said they took nothing. They had no loan. They had no book of instruction. They had no team. They had nothing but a raw idea and a raw concept, and they had nothing but a hardcore motivation and a willingness and a consistent dedication and determination to make something out of nothing. This is good African American male leadership, to take nothing and make something. You want to know what provision really is? provision is taking nothing and making something. Anyone can survive and thrive on a template-based provisionary basis. Anyone can take a regular paycheck that they're being paid each week. Shouldn't say anyone, because a lot of people are not doing it, but most people can take a paycheck, a template-based provisionary basis, and make something happen. But what do you do when you have no income? What do you do when you have no support? What do you do when you have those closest to you frowning at your idea because they don't even believe, but yet they boast now that they believe in you? But when you started, they didn't even believe. You had to convince them to hold on. And here you are now having something made from nothing, and you're getting more dishonor and disrespect as a good African American male leader in your home and in your community. I remember going to my subdivision board to propose an idea way before SIBN started. And I had my PowerPoint presentation, I had my handouts and all of that. And I proposed that we start a Norris NL TV for the activities in the area, in the subdivision area. And I mean, when I did the proposal, I still have the proposal. It went from A to Z. You know what I'm saying? The ages and what we would be doing and where we would headquarter, how often we would meet, and what it would cost. And all the cost was in kind. I was providing everything. And it was mostly, it was 99.99% whiteboard. And they looked at me and they asked me, well, what are you getting out of it? Well, I get the satisfaction of seeing the kids engaged in some kind of activity rather than running the streets. I get the satisfaction of being able to see the kids learn new social media and internet skills and broadcasting skills and so forth and so on, so that they'll be ready to enter the job market and in the workplace with these new skills from these new industries that are emerging with information technology and more. But that wasn't good enough for the board. Well, we'll get back to you. 99.9% white board turned me down in my own community because they thought that I was proposing a program of which I was going to foot the cost for and the equipment for. They thought that I was seeking something for myself. You feel what I'm saying? Good, solid African-American male leadership is being turned out every single day. And if you are African-American male listening to my voice, you need to hit me up on Twitter and tell me whether or not I'm on point or I'm off point. But let me tell you, we sit in silence and we suffer. We sit in solitude and we suffer. We don't act out. We're not criminals. We're not bandits. We're not pimps. We're not punks. We're not players. But yet we get less honor and less respect than I have ever seen in my life. And it makes me think this. It makes me kind of think the same way that corporate America thinks. It's all about the dollars. If you can make it rain, then you got the respect. If you can pull the dollars, it don't damn ass matter how you do it. Make that money. Cutthroat, step on people, lie, cheat, whatever you got to do. If you can make it rain, people will respect you. But if you got morals, if you got principles, if you're centered, if you've got a foundation, if your feet is flat on that foundation, you a punk. Something to be dominated, something to be manipulated, something to be excommunicated. I'll never forget the words of that chairman of the board in my subdivision that asked me the question, well, what are you getting out of it? And then later on, I heard through the grapevine that they had just spent $30,000 renovating the clubhouse. And they said to one of the constituents, or one of the managers rather, well, we don't want the clubhouse messed up, dirtied up, torn down. And then, I wasn't discouraged. I was upset a little bit, but I wasn't discouraged. I went on, and I could tell you countless stories. I could tell you countless stories of how I was discouraged by family and friends, so-called friends, I could tell you countless stories of how I didn't have X, Y, and Z, but yet I plunged ahead with a vision to lead my community, to lead my family, to lead in this nation of vile perceptionalism regarding African American male leadership. To try to stay as positive. And I mean, I was telling one of my interns the other day, I was telling her mom that I started to start a Dirty South network. Oh, yes, I started to do it. I started to start me a Dirty South network with all the cussing, with all the vileness, with all the pimping, the playing, the vulgarity of songs, everything. I started to do it. I was tempted. The booty shaking, the romps, lick stick, and the whole 9 yards. Because I figured, you know what? Maybe the bottom line is like corporate America. All we want is the money. You know what I mean by corporate America, where they give you 12-hour shifts for 3 years and still don't give you a performance evaluation. They give you a 4-day or 5-day 12-hour shift or 10-hour shift and don't say nothing and give you new responsibilities and don't say anything about raising your pay and double, triple dare you to say something and then turn around and tell you that you ought to be glad you got a job. And a lot of our African American women are sitting in these rooms and these meetings and they're hearing this and they're bringing the frustration back home to the African American male who is providing good leadership, and they're taking out their frustrations on him instead of standing up to that man on the job and saying, listen, we need to renegotiate the terms of our contract. We need to renegotiate the job description, because I've noticed in the past 3 years, you've added 6 different position descriptions to my job description, and I have not even had a performance evaluation. See, black women are afraid to speak up in the workplace, but they're not afraid to speak up at home. And the white man knows this. The white man knows that you mouth off at home, but you stand loyal at the job. He knows this. He knows he can get away with murder when it comes to economic mobility because he knows the trends and he knows the statistics. He knows what I've been telling you, that 72% of the homes are without an African American male, particularly male leadership. He knows this. He knows that the African American woman is the breadwinner in 72% of America's homes. And corporate America plays the card to the letter. And women fall for it every time. They fall for it every time. Well, I don't want to ask for a raise because, he told us we should be glad we're working. And you call that blessed and highly favored, that you have not had a performance evaluation in 5 years. Your income has been stagnant for 5 freaking years, and you call that blessed and highly favored. Please give me a break. And brothers who are sitting on the sidelines, who are supporting their wives or their girlfriends who are working in corporate America, they can't give no kind of advice to their girls, their women, about corporate America because they have not earned the respect and the space and the honor to even say anything, because you know what? We're not believed. When we say something, we're not believed. When we speak up, we're quiet. And we call that blessed and highly favored. Good, solid African American male leadership is consistent with provision and protection. Let's talk about protection before we go to break. What the heck is protection? Protection is when you have African American male leadership in the home and in the community. That male can perceive down the line what will be needed. That male can propose a change of strategy, propose a change of tactics, propose new ideas to be engaged in conversation. Life was never meant to be, a stale day-to-day, unexciting, dead weight where you're just paying your bills. Life was not meant for our relationships to be one-sided. Just because you're making $100,000 and I'm making $78,000, or you're making $78,000 and I'm making $28,000, that I have no say in the conversation. Life was never meant to be that way. Relating was never meant to be that way. But then I found out that the first breakup, the first thing that you notice about a relationship that breaks it up is the imbalance of power. Where good African-American men do not feel they have a seat at the table in a woman's mind because he doesn't make enough money, or because he doesn't have enough resources, that causes her to feel devish. Man, you don't want me to go there. Protection. And then protection means correction for the path of the children. And how many times when a man goes to correct a child, the woman stops him and says, no, that's okay. Don't be too hard on him. And naturally so, a woman is going to be that way, motherly. But motherly has to sit down and let father work. At what point do we respect the solid foundation of fatherhood in America when it comes to African American families? At what point do women sit down and honor that man and shut up and let the man do his fatherly duties without interfering and making him feel even more inferior and even more less of a man just because he's bringing correction, which correction does not feel good, does not always sound good. It just doesn't, it's not comfortable to be corrected. But at some point, children have to be corrected. And then as soon as everything falls apart, here come they calling your name, talking about you need to come get this boy. You need to come get this girl. But when you were trying to do it when they were pliable and when they were young and when they were moldable, you were shut down. And having instance upon instance upon instance, after a while, the man starts to feel like, you know what? Go on and handle it yourself, because you know what? I can't do nothing with this, coach. I'll be right back. And accept that there is only one philosophy that I have embraced under the Coach's Corner's umbrella, and that is that we are the common denominator in every situation. So I can't blame them, they, her, and him. I am stepping up to the plate, and I realize it's all me. Not that it's all about me, but it's all about the legacy for those that come behind me to achieve a height of success that I can't even imagine. This is called the transgenerational shift of mindsets, that we may propel ourselves into the generations that is to come and tell them, I won't leave you a mess that you have to clean up, but I'll leave you a principle-centered life that you can celebrate and catapult into more success. Join me on the Coach's Corner at www.415-96radio.com. That's www.415-96radio.com, and follow me on Twitter. That's the only way you can keep up with the coach. That's right, DCC is in the house on SIBN Radio. Tune in. Baby. Daily inspiration, sugar. Spiritual foundation, brother. That's what you got to have when you're rolling with the coach on DCC. We offer it every day, Monday through Sunday, man, right there at www.415-96radio. That's right, www.415-96radio. Hardcore motivation, daily inspiration, and your spiritual foundation from the coach. Y'all got to tune in. Follow me on Twitter at SelectUSATV. Come on, Instagram followers. Thank you so much. Follow me there at SelectUSATV. And don't forget Facebook.com at SelectUSATV as well. And we have a show page. Don't forget the Coach's Corner on SIBN Radio on Facebook. Whatever you do, tune in.
A part of me to fight for those who couldn't fight for themselves. Whether on my block or around the world. My name is First Lieutenant King, and I move toward the sounds of those who are in need of help.
The few, the proud, the Marines.
Entry invalid.
Mode. Mode. 5 seconds.
Oh. The Windows Phone 8X by HTC on Verizon. It features easy-to-navigate live tiles that are simple to customize. Just pin what matters most right to your home screen. Exclusively with DataSense, a feature that makes the most of your plan. Only on Verizon.
Oh, hey, Mike. What are you up to?
Just diagramming this accident with my State Farm Pocket Agent app. You can also get a quote and pay your premium with this thing.
I thought State Farm didn't have all those apps.
Where'd you hear that?
The internet.
And you believed it?
Yeah. They can't put anything on the internet that isn't true.
Where'd you hear that? The internet.
Oh, look. Here comes my date. I met him on the internet. He's a French model.
Bonjour.
State Farm. More mobile than ever. Get to a better state.
Aaron, I was able to save you hundreds.
Yeah, discount, double check, I know. I'm kind of over that move.
So are we.
What?
It's a little, soft.
No, it isn't.
It is.
Yeah, it is. They wanted something with a little,
Like what?
Do it with me. Ready? Discount, double check.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrifying.
Right?
Matthews.
What's up, dude?
He plays football professionally.
Hey, Rogers! Move! Matthews!
You can save big with a discount double check, only from State Farm.
You're listening to SIBN Radio on the Select USA TV iBroadcasting Network. You're listening to SIBN Radio. Yeah, we're back here. DCC is in the house talking about good, black, solid African-American male leadership in the home, in the community, in the nation. What we're going to do if we're not used to solid leadership from African-American males. We're used to hoodies, hoodlums, perceptions of thugs and players and pimps. But when it comes to a solid man that walks by principle, you abusing me. You don't love me. Now listen, one of the deceptions in corporate America for black African-American women, for those women that are out there that are single looking to be married, that corporate America have you fooled thinking that your money is the equalizer in your home with your man, but your money is not. And while I heard somebody say, let me love you my way, you can love me your way, but eventually you have to learn the way I need you to love me. And because you buy this and you purchase that, does not mean you can buy my silence. You see the dynamic that we find ourselves in here? Do you understand the situation that we are finding ourselves in here? African-American men are caught in a thicket. And then we go to church and we hear sermons that tell us how to treat our ladies. And even myself, you know, you have coaches that teach us and teach our men that we are the common denominator in every situation. But I can promise you this. The question is in the minds of a lot of African-American men. What do I do about leading a flock that don't want to follow? You lead anyway. You lead maybe quieter. You lead maybe more subtle. You lead, but you lead. I don't want nobody. I did a message one time, a radio show one time. I don't want nobody telling me what to do. That's the attitude of a lot of black women. And it's not, I mean, we're not pointing the finger at them. It's because they've been dealing with thugs, you know, during their lifetime. They've been dealing with, you know, aggravating situations from African-American men and other men for that matter. And so, you know, they've adopted this new way of coping. You know, you don't tell me what, you can say something in the nicest form and still yet be accused of abuse. I mean, where is the respite? Where is the place of rest? Where can a brother get a break? I just don't see it happening no time soon, because the situation as I'm talking is even getting worse. Somebody's being raped right now by an African-American male. Crime is being committed. Robbery is being committed right now every 4 minutes. Every 6 minutes, a rape happens. Every 3 minutes, someone drops out of school. I mean, the statistics are absolutely horrible. So when you find a good African-American male, I want to ask you the question, how do you engage them? How do you alter your conditioning to reject him at a certain level? I want to know, how do you alter the condition for pimping him? You keep him for what you need, but you discard him for what you need best. It's just a question. Solid African-American male leadership in the home is consistent. Provisionally consistent. Consistent in protective measures. Consistent in showing affection. Consistent in being sensitive to the needs, the multiplicity of needs in the home. And I have to say, let me get ready to close by saying a lot of our African-American male women do not know how to talk to our African-American men. Now, if you're a pimp, player, and a punk, they know how to talk to that, because that's what seemingly a majority of women are used to. Not to indict all women, because if you're listening to me now, I don't want you to feel like I feel that you're a part of that pimp, player, punk crowd. But what I'm saying is that if you're not used to solid, good leadership, what else would you be used to? You got a man that's sensitive, that asks you what's wrong, and he can pick up that your day has not been good. You got a man that'll cook you a meal every now and then, that'll clean up the kitchen, that'll go pick up the kids, that'll change the diapers. But yet, he may not make the money that you make, or he may not have the friends that you have. He's just a solid, good man. Unapologetic, but solid. Willing to change, but solid. Frustrated at times, but solid. You got that kind of man in your life, even as a father, even as a brother. It is to your advantage, women, to encourage that African-American male so he would not be discouraged, and to honor that African-American male so he would not feel dishonored, and to respect that African-American male so he does not feel disrespected. And here's what I want to say in close. Other senior African-American males disrespect up-and-coming African-American males, because they hold them to the same standard that they were held to when times have changed, seasons have changed. And we ask the questions, those of us who had fathers, when will my father ever be happy? Nothing will ever be enough for my father to be satisfied that I am half the man that he is, because he is holding me to the same standards that he was held to. And so inadvertently, we cut other African-American men down that are upcoming and that are solid. They grew up with a solid foundation. They were exposed to solid foundational principles, but we cut them down because they do not measure up to the man that the senior men say is a man. For instance, working for yourself has seemed to be, in some cases, sissified. You need to go get a 9 to 5. How many times I've been told that? And maybe they wasn't that harsh, but I'm gonna tell you, if you say it times 100, it's harsh enough. You got a lot of solid young African-American males coming up that's trying to do the right thing, that's trying to say the right thing, that's trying to be available, that's sensitive, that's moral. And they've been being cut down. Listen, lastly, before I go, don't step to me and tell me what I got until you got to live in my house. Don't step to me and say that mine has been a great help to you, and you don't even, I haven't known you 6 months. That's a whole nother show. That's a whole nother show. I didn't even want to get there. Listen, this has been good. The CC is in the house, man. Whatever you do, tune in at www.415-96 radio for hardcore motivation. It's every day, baby. Right there on the website. Hardcore motivation every single day, 24/7 on the website, www.415-96 radio. Tune in. This the coach. Until next time, whatever you do, fulfill the purpose for which you were created.